Hey guys, it's me, EODGamerZ here. Do you find every time you get Exalted and you are growing your wealth, the items that you want to purchase, Astromantis, Temporalis, are just keep getting more and more expensive and they are so much further away? Now in this video, I want to share with you some tips and strategies how you can protect your wealth and explain to you and summarize to you what's going on in the markets as well. I spend hours, 4 hours plus a day just watching these markets and trading, so I have a good sense of the economy and I summarize it all for you in this channel as well. If you'd like to tune in to market, do consider liking, subscribing. We'll cover you every single league, whether it's mid, late game, early game, everything as well. Now, the biggest thing that's going on is some people are all asking me in Discord and stuff, EOD, do you think the Exalted price will come back down so that we can purchase it at maybe it goes back to 100, we buy it out, and then you can profit from it and stuff like that? Or do we convert it to Divine Orbs right now? That's the talk that's on the street. And to be really honest, the honest opinion is the case for Exalted Orbs improving, which means this number coming down here, is very, very few cases to actually pitch why it will come down. The biggest thing probably is oversold. People are panic selling all their Exalteds. But even if you panic sold all your Exalteds, they are quite easy to get back. Run a map, run 2 maps, you probably pick up 10, 15 in the high game and the higher end maps. Everyone is like in more or less towards the middle to late game right now, even if you join slightly later. So everyone has abundance of Exalted and everyone just keeps converting Exalted over the Divine. That's what's pushing the pressure on Exalted Orbs. And it's not that Divine Orbs is super valuable and super rare and stuff. It's just Exalteds are way too common. Even though they are still used, a lot of us are in excess because you don't really need that many Exalteds in respect to the amount that is being farmed. So, right now, there's a lot of chatter on the street that there might be a need for another de facto currency. What do I mean by that is, it's quite clunky to transact in Divine Orbs. If we store all our wealth, like simply put, just convert everything to Divine Orbs, bro, it doesn't work very well because if we are trying to buy stuff like your soul cost, if you wanted to do a so-called arbitrage method, we talked on the channel as well, or even essences, for example, that you want to do the essences arbitrage that we discussed on the channel as well, you're going to eat a 50% spread. You buy for 255, you sell for 499, that's a 50% spread that you have to take. So Divine Orbs don't exactly work very well when you're trying to transact in the economy. One other thing that people are talking about, or a few other currencies, is like Chaos Orbs, Orb of Chance, Orb of Annulment, and these are definitely a lot more interesting cases as well. Orb of Chance, Orb of Annulment, maybe not as useful, but the one that we track since the start of the year, and you will see a really nice chart shortly, is your Chaos Orbs. A lot of veterans are actually saying Chaos Orbs is a really, really strong way of transacting. Maybe people will start using the Chaos Orbs in future because that's how they did in Path of Exile 1. So based on like past contextual knowledge for the past 10 years, history never repeats itself, but it often rhymes. So we might start to see a shift in the matured part of this league where people might start using Chaos Orbs to transact a bit more. More importantly, all these theories and hypotheses is useless without numbers. And that is why I have a very, very nice chart here for us. A lot of the previous videos when we always talk about the market update, every time something major happens, like your patch notes, what changed. Some of you don't have time to like read through everything in the economy, spend hours. We summarize all of it for you. So I have a very nice chart here, tracking from the start of the year, from left all the way till today, right? The y-axis here up and down basically is percentage change with respect to a certain base. Why do I do a percentage change instead of absolute? It's because this way I can compare Exalted Chaos, which are very, very small currencies, with your expensive currencies like Mirror of Kalandra, Omen of Withling, and stuff like that. So you get a very nice comparable chart. That's how this chart is read. The most important point here, and that we are looking at here that I want to talk about, is this green graph here, green bar, Chaos Orbs. Apologies if you guys are colorblind again. I will try to narrate as well as I can so that you guys can follow. And as well as this graph over here, this black line, which is Exalted Orbs. Over here in this, where my cursor is like circling, this portion here was where the patch notes were hit. There were some changes, there were some dupes and stuff like that people were speculating in the economy and whatever not. But we put that aside first. What happened recently in this transaction stage here, the recent 7 days, is Chaos Orbs have actually shown themselves to stabilize after dropping very, very rapidly for a brief amount of time with respect to Divines. They started to move horizontally and they even improve a bit and they are stabilizing while their best friend here, Exalted Orbs, just continues to decline. If you are looking at this chart here, it does show you that if you have hedge your risk in Chaos Orbs, it might be a much better decision than just like crowding in Exalted. So a quick reference tip that I have right now, straight away some lessons that we can take away, is consider putting some money in Chaos Orbs instead of just holding everything in Exalted and Divines at this stage of middle to late game, because it does show, the numbers don't lie, Chaos Orbs hold their value a bit better, especially if you're trying to protect your wealth. Now, how much do you convert? How much do you put in a ratio of Exalted, Chaos, as well as Divines? And that is where I have this beautiful chart for us. In real life, we have a wealth management system of putting your money in cash, equities, bonds, and stuff like that. Not to bore you with numbers, to put it into Path of Exile terms. 3 currencies right now we are proposing: Exalts, Chaos, and Divines. Let's say I have 200 Exalts in my inventory. Let's say I have 25 Chaos Orbs and as well as 10 Divine Orbs right now. The proposed allocation right now is a 8, 12, and 80 rule. This works really well, where it breaks down the 20-80 rule. Majority of your money are generally going to be stored in the safer asset, where it's like gold, stores value, it is used to purchase like very expensive stuff. Whereas your transactional currencies, if you had 20%, now is the best time to shift into a less volatile asset class. You can go through this allocation method. So I put in here the price of Exalts, put in the price of Chaos, Orbs per Divine, the ratio, and it tells me very nicely this is the proposed allocation that I'm supposed to have. So right now I have too little Chaos, I have way too much Divines, which means it's a bit illiquid. I don't want to be too illiquid as well, because if Divine Orbs moves downwards, I'm going to get hit by the other asset classes moving up in terms of currencies. So what I want to do here is I want to have a little bit on both sides. So you bet on both horses just to varying degrees. The one with higher chance of winning, you bet higher. The one with like low chances, you bet a bit. So you hedge out your risk overall. And of course, you might lose if the bigger horse wins, but it's like you have to keep playing, right? So you have no choice but to bet on a horse. Let's say like that's the situation. It's a poor analogy, but you get what I mean. At the end of the day, you're wanting to spread your eggs out in more baskets. If you guys don't like my allocation, you guys think that, hey, I am actually not that rich, I don't have that much resources, I actually have this override over here where let's say I want 30% of my resources in Chaos and I want like 20% of my resources in Exalts, because I don't want to follow this rule. I have my own methodology. I have allocated it as well. You can build a sheet like this for yourself as well. This sheet, of course, is found on the community section of the members page. As a shout out to those of you who support our channel, helping us to keep going as well. Just some hours of work that I want to share with you guys. But you can easily build this for yourself, and I show you here how I actually do it. So you have nice amounts here. It will tell you over here if you are 20-30, it's 100 Chaos, 600 Exalts, but this is a little bit much. So you can toggle the numbers as you like and see what works for you, and this will kind of like indicate what is the direction that you want to go to help you hedge your risk. And not to worry, I understand some of you have no Divines at all. You have 0 Divines, you are really new to the game, you only have like 100 Exalted. It also adjusts and tells you what is the best optimal ratio here for you. Let's say I have 100 Exalted, let's say I have like 1 Chaos. It also shows me what exactly I need to do. If I have like 5 Chaos, it shows me the nice ratio over here too. For example, 1 here, 2 here, you can just toggle. Of course, this works on a round down basis, so sometimes the number might not be 100% accurate, because it'll be like plus minus 1 because I use a round down formula. So that's some nitty gritty thing just for any of you who are using the sheet and you want to like recap how to use the sheet. That's a nice section here. But more important than that, now that we've talked about asset allocation, how do you grow your wealth? How do you earn money? What assets have been performing really well? And let's talk about that in this second part of the video. 2 things that are doing really well. In terms of currencies, the ones that are outperforming significantly is Mirror of Kalandra and Omen of Whittling. When we put out our video, coincidentally, when we were talking about the Zero to Mirror series, that was in hindsight the best time to purchase Mirror of Kalandra in the entire year so far. It was at its lowest when we did the video and bought it live for you guys, and since then it's been on tear. There were many reasons. If you are interested to know like why it went down and stuff like that, check the previous market update out. We talked about this section here of the big hoo-ha. Long story short, there was some rumors of dupes. It was not proven, and since then Mirror of Kalandra has continued to improve. What this means is in future leaks or in future moments where you see a big spike downwards of Mirror of Kalandra prices, in hindsight, it might be the best time to grab it, because Mirror of Kalandra has shown that it's like the property asset classes will just keep going up and up and up, especially if you're looking to buy the godly tier gear, Mirror of Calandra is a very, very good hitch to buy your end game gear since it's able to mirror any item 1-for-1 as well. So super strong. Anytime you see a drop, good time to consider Mirror of Calandra. It's very expensive. For those of you who have no idea how to even get that much money, check out our Zero to Mirror series guide on the channel. It will help you get your first Mirror of Calandra tool. Now next up, Omen of Whittling. Omen of Whittling is a proxy for crafting in general, and it has gone up so much. Now it's like 10 divines per Omen of Whittling. Previously it was like so much more cheaper. It's like barely half the price or something like that. So much cheaper, like 7 divines, 6 divines or something like that. Now it's like 10 divines going on as of time of recording. This tells you that a lot of people are actually spending their time crafting right now. A lot of crafters in general are in the market. If you want a perspective of how crafting works, why do people use omens, how do people use omens, we just put out a video on the channel a couple of days ago talking about pricing your items correctly so that you don't get mispriced and then the high-end crafters just flip your gear for a bigger profit as well, like doubling your money. So be careful about that. But high-end crafting, you need to know that these are very, very useful and why people are getting into it. I show you on the channel as well. You can check it out if you're interested. But these are the things that are doing really well. So if you have bought it, you have moved in that direction, you will be earning a lot more money just simply by allocating your resources into certain currencies too. Importantly, other than Exalted, another thing is crashing till nobody's business here, and that is distilled isolations. One of the reasons, very quickly, is emotions don't really have too much use other than anointing your amulets and oiling your waystones. Because of the general direction of surplus, because of the lack of use cases, it's going to go in a downward trend until, of course, you will reach a point where maybe it's not as valuable. Considered to other, maybe lower tier ones, maybe people are using greed and stuff like that, where it's much better to oil maps. If only they allow us to like break down isolation. So instead of reforging upwards, you can reforge downwards, like dismantle them. I think that will help with isolation prices, but it is what it is. That is something that we observe here too. The others, not too much, just pretty much stable movement. But now looking at the other asset classes, so we take away all the currencies and now we slap in the currencies plus your unique items like your chase items. Astra Mantis, Temporalis, these two are the front leaders here. Omen of Whittling is in third place. Your fourth place is Mirror of Calandra. So these are your top 4 if you have picked them from the start of the year. But no one can beat Astra Mantis. Look at this graph, Temporalis, look at this graph over here. Crazy amounts of run. So in hindsight, of course, hindsight 2020, what this means is if a meta is so overpowered, buy the gear even if you don't use them, you will still make money because of just how desirable it is. Temporalis is so strong because mages use them, they can get around so much faster. They basically get their return on investment by improving their speed of clearing, improving their speed time clears and stuff like that, allowing them to blink a lot more places, move faster, do more damage. Is a really, really solid item as well. Your Astra Mantis is not as OP as your Temporalis in terms of price pump, but it's still the second best so far. Arguably, a lot of the gains for Astra Mantis were done earlier in the cycle. Now in the recent times, it actually has moved more or less sideways already. So it's a good store of wealth, but if you have just sold your Astra Mantis, like if let's say you have like 2, bought a Mirror of Calandra, you have made way more money by storing in the currencies instead. So it's interesting to see, because one thing is Temporalis actually had the drop from the fear of the nerf, and then it recovered thereafter, but your Astra Mantis was always a safe horse, a goal kind of thing to go. That's why you don't have the same amount of upside. So talking about these two things. On the flip side, your Headhunter no longer as valuable. Ingenuity is more or less the same, especially since Headhunter and Ingenuity are competitive with each other. You can only use one belt. Generally, once your gear, your rings are so much more solid, Ingenuity makes a lot more sense. That's why we see Ingenuity outperforming a bit more than Headhunter as well. And Dream Fragments is like horizontal movement, still very, very expensive too. Anyways, guys, if you like the way that we present and you want to apply your game knowledge into real life as well, we have a very nice channel here, EOD Money, that talks a lot about real-world finances as well. At the same time, I also teach you how to trade on Steam Marketplace to make money from as low as like $0 to help you buy a lot of your games for free. It has 67k views right now at the time of recording 1 year ago. At the same time, we have topics on like how to make money in the stock market, beginner's guide, how I would have liked to start, as well as many, many other topics that you might like as well. If you guys find it interesting, check out the videos, watch one of you. If you really like it, help me subscribe. Thank you guys again so much for your attention.